Hi everyone, and welcome to my May book haul. I'm going to try to go through this quickly because I have 13 books I'm sharing, though a lot of them are sequels or follow-up books within a series. Couple things: I had a wonderful Bout of Books readathon. It was awesome. I don't remember how many books I read, but really enjoyed it. I just didn't do a video at the end because I had a cold last weekend, so I'll just talk about it in my wrap-up at the end of this month. What else? I've just been reading a ton, especially because I know during the summer I have less time to read because I will be working more. Yeah, that's it. So let's start. The first book I'm going to show I actually bought for work, so it may interest none of you, but I will just show it because I am reading it. And that book is called The Only Grant Book You'll Ever Need by... I don't even know who's... Oh, those people at the top. I'm not even going to try. It is a rather thick book about grant writing. I am trying to learn about grant writing for my work because I want to apply for grants, and I have no experience in grant writing, although I did take writing courses in college, so I do know how to write, kind of. Yeah, so hopefully this will give me lots of knowledge. If you've done any grant writing, I'm really curious if anyone out there in the booktube world has. Please write down below. I'm super curious, and yeah. Alright, so the next two books were books I've already, well, one of them I've already shown in my Bout of Books because I read it for Bout of Books, but that's okay. The first is the first in the Dresden Files series, Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is modern day, but magic. The main character is a wizard, and he's for hire, and he solves cases. Well, okay, so he consults for the police, but he also finds lost objects, and lots of bad things are going on. There's witches and wizards and fairies and werewolves and all sorts of stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I will talk about it in my wrap-up. So I'm also hauling the second book in the series, Full Moon by Jim Butcher. I've only barely started this, and I set it down for a little bit just because I wanted to pick up other stuff. Next is a book also by Jim Butcher, and this is part of the Codex Alera series. I already read the first one. Huge shout out to Reagan from Peruse Projects getting us all hooked on this series. So it is the second book, Academ's Fury by Jim Butcher. I really am not a huge fan of these covers. I prefer the European covers, although even those aren't that great. But yeah, it's big epic fantasy series. Check it out. Next is the book that I'm currently reading. I saw this on Miss Bookish Beauty's channel, and it sounded great. I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. Anything historical, thriller, murders, detective sounds amazing. And that book is The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This book is set in the 1890s, I believe, late 1890s, like turn of the century, and it is about a really horrific murder that happens, and an alienist is now what a psychologist is. So the main character is a newspaper reporter for the New York Times, and he's working with this alienist, and the police chief, or he's something equivalent, the commissioner, is Teddy Roosevelt. And so they're all working together to serve this really horrific murder. So far it's very thick writing, there's a lot of detail, but it's really wonderful to read, enjoying it a ton. Next is another book I already read, but I don't believe I've hauled yet, and that is Hold Me Closer, Necromancer, super shiny. Yeah, this book was a huge surprise to me. I'll talk about it in my wrap-up. Really enjoyed it. It is by Lish McBride, and it is about a necromancer who didn't know he was a necromancer, and then there's another evil necromancer, and he has a bunch of friends, and this kid, well, I guess he's in college age, which surprised me. I thought it was a middle grade book, but it's definitely YA, and He actually just works at a burger joint and his life isn't going anywhere great, but things happen. Lots of danger. It's really awesome. So on that note, I then ordered from Book Outlet Necromancing the Stone by Lish McBride, which is the second book in this series, and I'm sad that it's not shiny like the other book. I mean, it is, but it's not the same. Then I have the second book in A Series of Misfortune Event book series. I don't think I hold this already. It's called The Reptile Room by Mr. Lemony Snicket, and yeah, the series is a children's series about horrible things that happen to children, which I think is just fantastic. Next we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've had this for a while. It's supposed to be a cross of Criminal Minds and I think not magic, but supernatural powers. I read the description a while back, but now I have forgotten what it covers. I think it involves the FBI and things are happening and they're trying to solve, these kids are solving crimes with their abilities. I could be entirely wrong. Yeah, I'm very excited to read it. Next we have a comic book I've had for a while. I am still trying to get in comic books. It's a struggle for me for some reason. I don't know why. But this is The Unwritten by Mike Carey and Peter Gross. It's supposed to be like this young man his father's basically, I think, written a series like Harry Potter, and so these fans are after him and there's like magical elements to it. I'm not positive. Again, I read the description a while back. I really should have reviewed it, but I am hoping I will get into the series because it sounds great. And 3 books left. So the next book is Unraveling by Elizabeth Norris. It's hard to see. This is a YA book I got off of Book Outlet. It's about a girl who I believe is hit by a car and basically dies, and then she wakes up and there's this loner kid that she thinks was involved with waking her up from being dead. And there's also this clock that's counting down to something horrible, and she, I think, now has some sort of supernatural abilities, although I could be wrong. So she's trying to solve the whole thing. Just sounds like a fun YA supernatural read. After that, we have Dragonwood by Yanette Lee Carey. I got this at Powell's, and it is a historical fantasy book, historical fiction, I guess, for YA. It is set on an island, I think it's in Europe, don't remember which island, and the main character and 2 other friends are accused of witchcraft. The island is involved, like, and has a historical sense of dragons and other things, although I think it's in a modern age where that isn't really accepted. And so she's being hunted down, and there's something about a guy, I think the guy that's hunting her, that she has some sort of connection to. And I think she's kind of like a strong female character, so I think it sounds really interesting and I'm hoping I enjoy it. And finally, we have Glitch by Heather Anastasiou. I hope I said that right. I've wanted to read this book for a while and it's been on my shelf for a little while. I got it out of Book Outlet. And the main character is in a society. This is like a dystopian society book. And people don't think for themselves, and they're all happy and content until a glitch happens, and suddenly she's starting to think for herself, and she doesn't maybe like what she sees, and dangerous things are happening. And it sounds a lot like a lot of other YA dystopian books, but it got favorable reviews, and for some reason I'm just really excited to read it. So these are all of the books that I'm hauling. I can barely hold this. Oh my gosh, that pile was so close to falling over. It was really close, but I successfully hauled all of the books. I have more books to haul in the future, but I think 13 is a good start. I want to haul books that I'm reading or have read, so when I wrap up, it's not a weird coincidence that books magically appear. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've read any of these books, please write below. What are you reading this month? What have you hauled? Love to hear about it. And I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I hope you have some sunshine like we have here. And I will see you later. Bye!